Driving down the road, you notice a very disturbing amount of vehicles that have the double pipes. The pipes that are sticking out from the back, straight out and backward. These exhaust pipes basically face the rear vehicle, the rear driver, at any one point, and a lot of them are double or twin exhaust pipes, or even double twin or four exhaust pipes facing straight backward from the vehicle. You know, it's spewing all kinds of obnoxious and toxic gases right in the faces of the drivers, right behind those vehicles. And I can't believe that even to this supposedly modern day and age, that is a selling point for vehicle manufacturers to design and place those, exhaust pipes sticking straight back into, other drivers right behind the vehicle. This is ridiculous, and it speaks volumes on the just ignorance and stupidity of not only the designers, but the following from those designers to just please the people that are for large part, a majority, which are dumb, ridiculously stupid, and ignorant themselves. I'm talking about the people that demand that purchase, that want these exhaust pipes on vehicles to be sticking out as if, they are actually getting some sort of benefit from it, as if, these pipes represent speed and power and the ability to exhaust some sort of jet or something. I mean, this is what these pipes represent. They symbolize some sort of propulsion system, makes the vehicle quote unquote look faster, look more capable. And the idiots and frankly dumbasses that think this is the case, I mean, these are the people that are pushing and are feeding and fueling this kind of design. And the profit-driven, greedy manufacturers just follow suit. They will produce what people pay for, what people want to pay for. So they keep producing these ridiculous vehicles with double pipes and quadruple pipes sticking out straight up into the faces of the drivers behind, and spewing all kinds of toxic and polluting gases into the atmosphere. If anything, if you're going to keep building ICE, internal combustion engine vehicles that spew all kinds of pollutants, then make sure that you are spewing those pollutants away from the faces of other drivers. Why spew it directly into the path of other drivers straight back, when you can, channel those or direct those pipes straight down into the ground so it can maybe dilute a little more before it hits the other vehicles right behind. I mean, these vehicles, this design, is just as ignorant and ridiculous as the people that drive these vehicles. For example, when you sit in traffic, when you sit in slow traffic or stalled traffic, you are spewing these polluting gases and these obnoxious and toxic gases directly into the path, into the very direction of those drivers in front, behind the vehicle, producing these gases, which is basically most vehicles on the road. So when you're sitting in a traffic jam, for example, all these vehicles are basically directly spewing those gases into other vehicles, even though those other vehicles may have their windows closed. The vents, the intake vents for most vehicles are in fact in front, near their the bottom of their windshields, and the vehicle intakes air from its surroundings. So if its surroundings are polluted and filled with fumes and toxic, obnoxious gases, then that's what's going to go inside of the vehicle, whether it's through a filter, it doesn't matter. These gases are going to go into the interior of any vehicle, whether the windows are closed or open, especially when vehicles have open windows. Many people don't have air conditioning. Many people must have their windows open or cracked. So these obnoxious gases again are going to go directly into these other vehicles. Some vehicles have the tailpipes facing to the side, as if that helps. And all it takes is one of these assholes parking or stopping or slowing down right next to you when you have your windows open, and you're going to have, especially these ridiculous monster trucks that are lifted, in many occasions are very high off the ground, and their tailpipe facing to the side sometimes may be directly located right in your face as you sit in, especially a low vehicle, a car or a vehicle of low stature. You're going to be sitting directly in the path of where these gases are being spewed directly to you. And that design is also poor. It is also ignorant, and at worst, just plain stupid. And I cannot believe that today we have manufacturers repeatedly designing vehicles like this. Put those damn tailpipes facing straight down. Put those damn tailpipes in the dead center mass of the vehicle facing down. That way the gases are not being directly channeled to you or to other drivers. Let that obnoxious and polluting atmosphere dilute a little bit on the bottom, on the very center bottom of the vehicle. That way it is basically coming up as it dilutes or mixes with the air around it. It is not puffed and shot right into the windows of other drivers, right into the noses of other drivers, or right into the front intakes of other vehicles. Let's be a bit more conscious and reasonable with our vehicle designs, and don't fall for just what the customer wants, because the average customer, unfortunately, is ignorant. The average customer, unfortunately, is not aware of many dangers, and in many cases the customers are stupid enough to choose risky and dangerous designs and machines and parts over safety. These idiots routinely choose to buy and to do risky and unsafe modifications and things to their vehicles, regardless of the safety of them, not only themselves but others around them. These people very often just ignore what other people, what risks they pose to other people, how other people may get hurt through their dumbass decisions, and how other people may be harmed through their ignorant decisions. For example, I see these trucks having these spikes on their spokes, on their wheel bolts. They have these very long, very sharp and rigid nut covers, or I believe sometimes they are actually the actual nuts for the wheels of these commercial rigs, trucks, 18-wheelers, and even though some of them are plastic, lightweight plastic, they are still sharp, they are still rigid, and they still sit very solidly and very snuggly and very securely. They sit on those bolts. They have to, otherwise they will be flying off every time from that wheel. That wheel spins at a high speed, and you don't want to have a sharp object flying around on the highway, entering people's open windows or crashing into people's windshields. So those must be screwed on very strongly, and they have to be very snug and secure on there. So because of that, these spokes, these spikes, these thorns are able, and I'm sure they have hurt people, whether they're passing through, whether they are walking close by, whether they have lost their balance and fell on these things. I mean, the possibilities are too many to mention how someone could get hurt, especially children, especially people, elderly people that may easily lose balance, that may not see these, dangerous, vehicle parts on wheels, and they could be severely hurt. Obviously so. I mean, this is just as plain as day, and yet these things are routinely being installed and sold all over the place. I see these just ridiculously ignorant truck drivers getting those and putting those on their trucks very often. That's an example of a ridiculously stupid decision that could get someone else hurt, including the drivers themselves. They may be getting out of their truck and lose balance and fall on their faces straight on those very sharp spokes and do some serious damage to themselves, let alone small children and others. Also, people that lift trucks, they very, very clearly alter the center of balance of these trucks. There's the center of gravity of these trucks, and they make these trucks more apt, more able, and likely to flip over, to tilt to the side, to lose control in their steering, to brake, to take longer in braking or more distance, cover more distance while braking. So this could affect several dynamics in the control of a vehicle, of a truck or SUV. And these idiots and ignorant bastards, they just keep modifying their vehicles, spending thousands of dollars in many cases, and just wasting resources by modifying and customizing their big trucks and their Jeeps for their own personal liking, for their own personal, what they perceive as personalization, to stand out, to impress their friends, to what they call express their personality. I mean, these reasons are just as unreasonable and ridiculous as they get, especially when you are putting yourself and others around you in increased danger. No wonder these things are just flatly not legal in many, many areas of the world. And in many municipalities, there may be some laws against it, but not here. Not here in the United States. These things are, by and large, if not everywhere, allowed, permitted, and or turned a blind eye against. It all depends. This is the situation and the predicament we find ourselves in, where police often enforce laws depending who it is that is driving, who it is that they're dealing with. And in the case of these trucks, they go by and large, per my experience, they go ignored. In many cases, it is not even a restriction. There's no restriction as far as what modifications you can do to vehicles. You can put horns on vehicle front ends. You can, drive vehicles without hoods. You can drive vehicles around without doors. I mean, the situation is just out of control and ludicrous when it comes to vehicle modifications and the extent in which this is just tolerated and accepted and even encouraged in many areas of the country.